Town, Detroit, recording live. Prepare yourself for a hoppy drive. If you're chilling at home, pop that crowler and just kick back for the next 2 hours. It's the end of the week, so here's to the weekend. It's Better on Draft with Rob, Matt, Nick, and Ken.
And we are live, episode 221, Better on Draft podcast. I am happy to be here. It is right now the original 3 from episode 1, not in studio, but in our houses. My name is Ken. Again, you can listen to us live, facebook.com/Better on Draft. You can also download the Hot Mic, use the code BOD to watch. So if you're not a Facebook user, you can still watch us live, ask us questions live, especially if we have a guest. You can ask any question you want to. Going with Dan. Dan, how you doing? What are you drinking?
Yeah, I'm pulling a Nick. I have to. That's a weekly thing now.
Yay! I got my own little thing on this show.
You do. That's stuck forever, man. So I've got a Sleepy Dog Brewing Wet Dog Peanut Butter Stout. Amazing beer, low price point too. One of my favorites out here. Arizona beer owned by a Chicago brewery now. It's kind of a long story. And then had to go with the old Dragon's Milk. Haven't had one in a while, so I thought I'd crack one open.
Still the most consistent barrel-aged year-round beer out there. I will stand by that. I will fight people for that. Nick, how you doing? And what 2 beers are you drinking?
I'm doing great. I'm not drinking beer. I'm going the Matt Bush route. And
oh no,
seltzers?
Yeah,
Seltzer boy.
Oh, boy. Hey, you know what? I did it for a while. It's all good.
So I got the Smirnoff Red, White, and Berry, and then the Truly Wild Berry. So I'm on a berry kick right now, but in typical Nick fashion.
The that Red, White, and Berry is so good.
It is.
I know it's a Smirnoff product. I know it's a big product. I know we're supposed to be, against the man. But I remember having it last year at the World Expo of Beer, and I remember secretly being upset and happy that was the best thing I had there.
I got there at World Expo of Beer, and you're like, you need to try this. And I'm like, well, where is it? You point me in a direction, and I'm like, I was trying to find something just to say that I hate about it, and I couldn't.
No, it's fruity without being.
I have it.
It's that fruity without being sugary, which I think is the big thing that a lot of those it's not sugary, it's not syrupy. So I think it's got definitely a lot going for it right now. If you guys have been noticing the trend, actually I just realized that this is a 7% beer, which is why I've been drunk a few nights. But Shorts Bel Air Brown, and of course a backup Shorts Bel Air Brown. I
gotta ask, Ken, how many brown ales have you had on this show in a row over the last X number of weeks?
I think I'm probably on 4 or 5 weeks in a row. I was cycling through the Poet Brunch Stout. I'm trying to think B43, which I got a can back in my little fridge over there. But yeah, I have been definitely going a little bit harder on the browns. What's nice though is that I just put in an order for Batch Brewing, which is going to have an alt beer in it since they just launched an alt beer.
Ooh.
So I bought 2 4-packs, and then I know B Nectar is trying to kick the kegs because they still have a lot of kegs of beer, and they're trying to get rid of it. So they're selling 4-pack cans of drafted beer for dirt cheap. So I will be heading over to Detroit and Ferndale tomorrow to pick up a lot of good beer and mead, that is for sure. We do have 2 guests on the line. One of them there he is. He's still there. We got 2 guests. We'll go with John first. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do and what company you work for.
Hi, my name is John Walker. I'm the head brewer and co-founder at Athletic Company in Stratford, Connecticut.
All right.
Yeah, we brew exclusively non-alcoholic beer.
And on the other side of the screen, I have Bill. Why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and why don't you give us a little tour? So those of you who are watching, facebook.com/Better on Draft, you can see the video replay on Facebook as well as YouTube. So Bill, what do you do, and where are you?
Hey, thanks for having us on. Yeah, I'm Bill, the other co-founder of Athletic Brewing. I'm in our San Diego brewery. So John's on the east, I'm on the west right now this week. But behind me here is a look at our new canning line that we're super psyched about. It's a Crohn's high-speed canning line in the background there. Thanks for having us on, though.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. I'll leave it to either of you to answer. Who kind of had the idea for Athletic, and where did you get the name from?
That would be me, kind of because athletic emerged kind of as a natural pain point in my life. I a craft beer lover. I went to college in Vermont, up at Middlebury, which, I mean, in the mid 2000s had access to some of the best regional craft breweries in the country. Um, yeah, and it's so like Otter Creek was a quarter mile down the street from my off-campus house, and like we got great exposure to early craft beer there. And as I moved into the city, New York City, for a decade after that, I was hunting around the city, loved craft beer, like spent so much of my life socializing with friends and family and going to bars and just like hunting down good beer in New York. But as I turned 30, I didn't like drinking craft beer every time I went out to meals or like work dinners and stuff like that didn't necessarily fit as well with my work schedule or getting up early to work out and stuff like that. So I started to cut back a little bit as I got older, and I really missed having beer that fit into all those occasions. And it kind of said to me that craft beer was really missing like 5 days of the week or 4 days of the week. And with all the innovation out there, it just blew my mind that craft beer hadn't touched anything super low alcohol or non-alcoholic. And that curiosity kind of got me to reading textbooks. And I did a lot of work on the idea and the business plan. Never ever would have thought I'd start my own business, especially a food or beer business. And that's kind of when I teamed up with John. And John brought in real expertise on the brewing side to our team.
Well, John, why don't you talk to us about how it is to brew a non-alcoholic beer? Did you brew regular beer prior? And by regular, I mean just alcoholic, I guess.
Yeah, I was brewing at a Second Street Brewery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was there for the better part of 7 years. And, we're a small brew pub, great place. And it was normal beer. But then I teamed up with Bill, and I was kind of driven by the inspiration and the mission behind the company and the creativity that was going into it, and just kind of diversifying beer, if you will. And so, we set out to make craft non-alcoholic beer and using traditional brewing methods. And so, there are, I could say, no differences and a ton of differences all at the same time in making a really good non-alcoholic beer.
What is the biggest change of going from making alcoholic to non-alcoholic beer? Because I would assume the process is fairly the same, but there's got to be little differences that obviously don't ferment sugar. Or I mean, talk to me like I'm an idiot, because sometimes I am. Like, are you fermenting sugar? Are you like removing alcohol? Like, how does non-alcoholic beer actually work? Because you still have some alcohol in it. It's just such a small amount that it's ineffective.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally it's been removed, and those ways are great, and they make some great product. And the way we do it, we don't pick. There's no like one method that we chose. So we have a myriad of complex procedures within the brewing process, and we just come out with a super sessionable non-alcoholic beer. And I think the biggest difference probably is just attention to detail and cleanliness and food safety. Food safety is a huge one because we don't have the ethanol to keep bacteria or any pathogens at bay. So, I'd say that's the biggest difference between normal and non-alcoholic brewing.
Dan, you got a question?
Say what now?
I said, Dan, do you have
Do
a
I?
question? Yes.
No, I'm just sitting here listening.
That's fine. I can keep going.
Keep going. My bad. So, actually, I do have a question.
There we go.
I don't think we talked about it yet. My bad. I was kind of distracted. So what made you guys want to do non-alcoholic brewing? It's kind of an interesting thing. Not a lot of people do it. I mean, you don't find too many non-alcoholic breweries out there.
Well, like a full non-alcoholic brewery, even.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't carry anything that, like, I'm not going to find a barrel-aged anything of yours out there.
But can we get a barrel aged? You could.
Barrel-aged
I mean,
non-alcoholic beer.
they make barrel aged coffees. Like Reputation makes a barrel aged coffee, so you could technically barrel age a non-alcoholic beer. Get a bourbon flavor without the actual alcohol.
I think we have proven at this point that we can pretty much do anything that we want, and we've really just scratched the surface.
Well, what is it that you want to? What's the next goals within Athletic? Because I know when you guys start selling stuff and doing e-commerce, your stuff sells out really fast. I'm guessing to the point where why you're in San Diego. I'm assuming, or was San Diego always your site? Because for some reason I thought you guys were in the Northeast. There we go.
Sorry, I kind of relocated to a noisy room, so I've been on mute. But yeah, John and I both grew up in Connecticut, so building the brewery in our backyard was a natural fit. San Diego was something we kind of followed our e-commerce data, and California was purchasing a ton of our beer without any marketing. And there just happened to be a great used brewery that we could kind of move into and make our own out here as well.
Ashley Price is saying there is a barrel-aged NA out there called Gravitas, so we'll have to
interesting.
Definitely look out. Now, prior to us joining into the chat, we were talking about how you guys were initially selling into Michigan but had to stop. Explain to us kind of how that happened, what happened, and anything you want to announce for the future of Michigan with Athletic Brewing.
For sure. It's so the legal landscape isn't totally clear on non-alcoholic. The federal definition is anything below 0.5 isn't beer or alcohol, and so it's not regulated as such, and you can ship it anywhere you want. Unfortunately, Michigan is one of 5 states that treats non-alcoholic beer as full-strength beer, so it's regulated more than the actual federal definition. So we did just find that out and had to stop shipping e-commerce into Michigan. But as a result of that, we didn't want to disappoint our customers and community in Michigan. And so we've been building relationships with a couple distributor partners over a long time there. And we'll be launching in July or August at retail stores in Michigan. So we're super excited about that.
That's awesome. So obviously you'll be able to pick that up. We didn't know Ashley's in the chat. He sells over at Holiday Market. You probably can go get it over at Zatuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills, just south of M59 on Rochester Road. Sorry guys, got to pay the bills.
Subtle segue there, Ken.
Thank you so much. 221 episodes down. I am really good at those. Now my question, we had an interesting conversation. This was a handful of years ago at the Kunin Summer Solstice festival where we had a guy who ran a craft beer shop in Japan. And what we learned was that in Japan, home brewing is illegal to make actual beer, but you can still make non-alcoholic beer and you won't get in trouble if you accidentally have some type of fermentation that causes into beer. Can you guys have you guys accidentally caused like higher than your standard NA percentage, or are you guys just too good?
Just like in any brewing, there are always batches that don't turn out the ways that you always or that you hope for them to. We just don't release them, and we don't send it out unless it meets our criteria.
Do you guys have any license to sell non-alcohol or beer itself? Or is that like what your license curtails, is to sell beer? You just choose to sell non-alcoholic, or is it a different license to sell non-alcoholic versus regular beer?
We do have our brewer's notice federally, but we're not licensed in any individual states to sell alcohol yet. So that would be pretty easy to do, and we'll have to do that in Michigan to sell what the state deems full strength beer.
That whole 0.5% or less.
Yeah.
So on that, when you guys brew non-alcoholic, in the event that you guys go over that 0.5 threshold, what happens to that liquid? Does that just get thrown out, gets wasted? Or I mean, or you guys try and see if you can salvage it somehow?
We dilute to below 0.5% and it goes down the drain.
Oh,
Wow. Okay.
oh wow, okay.
You don't drink it. You don't take it home.
Oh, well, I mean, some small pilot batches.
Like I accidentally made this 10% beer that I was trying to make 0.5%. Oops.
There are such things as hobby accidents in non-alcoholic beer also.
There you go. So then how often does something like that happen? You guys are good at what you do. I'm guessing not very often.
Yeah, it's not very often. We have an incredible team of really skilled professionals and creative people and people in food safety. And we have, just really honed our skills, and we have some amazing facilities and equipment. And so, I neither Bill nor I can take any credit for it at this point, but everybody's doing a fantastic job of just making sure everything that comes out of our brew kettle is like spot on.
How many barrels are you guys
Things
doing
are
a
going
year?
really well.
We did about 10,000 last year. So I'm cruising along this year.
Just a little bit, that's for sure. Are you guys seeing the demand change with the prominence of people are trying to act a little bit more healthier these days? The sober October and dry January into February or I guess it would be March and April for Lent. Are those what I would think be your biggest times and sellers, or is it just kind of a year-round constant?
We definitely see some surges, and it's really easy to do customer introduction in January and get trial. But really, the category is so early in discovery phase in the U.S. that it's really growing off like a 30-year flat line where there are no new products from 1990 to 2017 in the country. So people are just starting to discover that there's good tasting non-alcoholic beer out there. And so it grew like low single digits 2018. It grew 23% in 2019. And it's up like 44% year to date in scan data so far this year.
That's quite interesting because obviously with the change of I guess you could say the culture, everyone's staying at home, nobody's really going out and driving. One thing that we all noticed, and I'll lead the question to you guys because all three of us have answered it yes. Do you guys find yourselves drinking more now that the rules have changed a little bit in regards to going out, or is everything the same? I mean, Bill, you talked about how you wanted to, working out and stuff. You're a little bit on the health conscious side. Are you drinking more or less than you were?
So yeah, Bill doesn't drink. Period.
Bill doesn't drink. Period.
Okay.
Did I miss that? Because you said you were talking about.
Yeah, I scaled back all the way to zero.
Scaled to okay. So I did hear that you were drinking. You just scaled to zero. Perfectly fine.
And our company definitely emerged out of like total void of options out there. Like it is super, like now there's better options, but 3 or 4 years ago it was super scary to go out to bars and restaurants. Like you could have an amazing meal and have to pair it with like a Diet Coke or a water.
Yep.
Well, let me ask John. Let John answer the question first. Do you feel like you're drinking more now that you're kind of home a little bit more, or are you even home a little bit more? Or are you still ramping production?
We're still busy, doing some production, but I have been home more just throughout the past couple months, and honestly, it's had the adverse effect. Since starting this company, I've drank less because I've just seen. I found that I enjoy our beer just like a beer. It just doesn't have alcohol in it. And then being around, so I have 2 little kids and a wife who needs me and wants me coherent. And when you're in the house with everybody for that long, if you were drinking, things might not go so well. So, just trying to keep mindful and active and keep the kids active and running. And so.
Yeah, 100% understand. Actually, let's give a big congratulations. Mr. Nicholas is going to be a papa here. So, congratulations, Nick, a
Yep.
first-time dad.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You scored a goal, Nick. Congrats.
Yes. Yeah, I did, Dan. November
It's the best.
November 27th. Life completely changes.
I'm just like the 2008 Lions, owing everything.
Oh Lord.
We have a
Nick.
few questions. Oh, go. What up,
Oh,
Dan?
I'm sorry, Nick. Is that the day after Thanksgiving?
I don't know, is it? Now you're gonna make me look. I know it's right around that time, but
You're gonna have them. You're gonna be at the game on Thanksgiving, assuming you can go.
still waiting to hear about. Oh, obviously, we're still a few months away from that. The message that I've been getting from my ticket rep, season's going on as planned. So who the hell knows?
Oh yeah, Dan. There might not even be a football season.
Yeah, we're gonna get a hockey season at least, but
Not in Detroit.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, not professional hockey.
Fourth worst team in the NHL. I think we're getting the number 4 draft pick or something.
No, they were the worst team.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Wait, how are they the worst team? But didn't
They had like 11 wins, man.
It's I think NHL is a lottery.
Oh, they do the lottery in the end. Oh,
yeah.
what the hell I know. I'm a football guy, so
we have a few questions from the chat.
Yeah.
A lot of it's based on distro, which is perfectly fine because I know we do concentrate a lot more on the business than anything. What are the offerings that you're going to start in Michigan? So what beers are coming to Michigan first?
We'll have our flagships, our Upside Down Golden Ale, and our Run Wild IPA.
And are you guys just going to be sending out, I guess it would be cans, or are you going to be doing drafts too? Are you going to be able to send drafts to these areas or kegs?
Yeah, in the immediate future, we're just going to focus on our 6-packs and cans. And hopefully in the not too distant future, we're going to be working on our draft program.
And somebody wants to know if you're hiring for Michigan.
We are.
All right.
There you go.
Well, the person who's asking, I personally trust, even though you guys know me for about 30 minutes so far. But someone.
These questions are all from one person.
I mean, it is a guy. We've had him on the show before. Really, really intelligent in the system itself. Makes me feel like a lazy ass too with all of his.
Oh, look who's joining.
Running, because he'll post
hey.
his map my run and like how fast he runs. I'm like, God damn it! Like I need to get off my ass and do something. That's for sure. I did a lot of miles in April, but I did nothing in May.
Ken.
I sat on my ass, but I'm drinking all the beer that I have left, and then I am going to stay with seltzer. I'm going with liquor. I'm going back to keto because that Buddy's pizza I had today was not keto. That's for damn sure. Robert, welcome to the chat and welcome to the show.
Hi. Rob, where's that Kool-Aid Man glass at? There it is.
So we'll let Rob settle in just a little bit. Are you guys, because you said the word yet when you were talking about not making beer or not scheduled to make beer. Do you guys plan on making alcoholic beer anytime, or maybe going into a different realm of, say, non-alcoholic mead or alcohol?
So kind of our view is like the craft beer world is incredible at making every kind of alcoholic beer, and like so there's like a lot of our value add is in the non-alcoholic realm for sure. If we do anything with alcohol, it would be super low alcohol, like 1.5%. Something super sessionable to kind of like just for any middling occasions or anything. And yeah, I think it could be fun for people too. I mean, like a lot of session beers are still like 5%, and that's kind of just a full strength beer, you know.
Bill, every beer is a session beer if you try hard enough.
That is true. But did you ever think about like a 3.8% like English dark mild, something like that? People would definitely get into that.
I mean, even not necessarily the dark mild, but like the Toffel, like the table beers that you see in Germany that are really low ABV. Obviously, that's more of a cultural thing. that we don't necessarily have in the United States. We're a bunch of binge drinkers, especially in Michigan. Um,
Yeah.
but do you see that as a potential market, or is that just kind of going with the wind blows, but ready to go if and when you want to go?
Yeah, we just don't have the bandwidth right now, but we get a ton of requests for it, for like 2%, 1%. I know it's not a market in the U.S., but I also think that's because there are no offerings. I don't think that's for lack
Exactly.
of interest. It's kind of like a chicken or an egg type thing potentially, and but it's also not like we're not trying to like convince people to not drink alcohol or say that like 2% is better than 5%. We're just saying that there's already great occasions and beers in the higher end, and we want to add occasions and beers and people to the craft beer world. So
Awesome. Yeah, we're hearing a little beeps in the background, so we'll continue the conversation and keep it going. Rob, now that you're settled in, why don't you tell us what you're drinking?
I am drinking, as I guess usually doing my apparent sponsorship with Eastern Market Brewing / Ferndale Project. That is how I am starting out. So I am starting out with the bourbon barrel aged Mezcal Margarita Goza with this sucker. And it is, I've already had like 2 cans like this so far this week. This thing is, it's just amazing.
Nice.
John, did you grab a drink? I know you said you might have been getting up and getting one, but you looked very comfortable in that couch.
I'm drinking one of our free waves.
All right.
So,
What kind of beer is it? Why don't you tell us about it? Uh-oh, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, all of a sudden we got a still shot.
All 2 weeks in a row.
it's just got loads.
It's got loads.
I like all my beer with loads myself.
Makes for great TV, terrible audio.
The beauty and magic of live radio on the internet.
John, let's try this one more time.
All right, can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah. So it's a double IPA in non-alcoholic form. It's just got loads of Chinook and Amarillo cryo hops. It's got a light, simple, kind of weedy body. It's kind of a blend of East-West. But yeah, it's just a delicious, juicy IPA.
Have you guys made a hazy non-alcoholic IPA yet?
This kind of borders on it, and Reed, one of our brewers, is actually brewing a full-on New England IPA next week.
Interesting.
Nice.
We'll definitely have to. Come July 1st, we'll have to hit you guys up to send it to the distro over here for us to try it on the show. Why don't you talk to us about your ambassador program? Tell us what that's all about.
Yeah, John, thanks for murdering my social mentions by saying we're brewing a hazy. Yeah, and the ambassador program is something that really grew out of. Sorry for the beep; they're moving tanks around.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, the ambassador program is something that emerged after like people kept reaching out to us and asking if they could help spread the word, and people running all sorts of races and doing cool stuff and wanted to share our beers. And so we've got a group of like 300 amateur athletes doing all sorts of cool things, from fastest known time adventures to running races to just sharing beers at barbecues in their community. And so it's been an awesome group in the community that we've gotten to know. But I'll go back on mute because it's pretty loud, I imagine. Sorry.
It's not too bad.
No, so how did it like come about though? Like, was there just like people wanting to promote you, and you kind of just started a program because everyone was reaching out?
Yeah, I mean, my cell phone and my email were the company emails for like the first year and a half, and like it's like so humbling and awesome, like the inroads we were getting from people, and like with great ideas and everything. And so we eventually wanted to build a program to like do them justice and honor them, like the cool things they were doing. And so we feature our ambassadors every Wednesday on our Instagram, and we fund some of their adventures, and it's really fun.
I don't know who this might question before, but why don't you tell us, because you guys donate 2% of your proceeds or your sales to trails and parks. Why don't you tell us about two for the trails?
Yeah, so Two for the Trails is we donate, like you said, we donate 2% of our gross sales to trail and park cleanups. And in addition to that, we get our whole team together, in various regions, and we will go collectively as a group and also help clean those trails up. It could be a local town trail or it could be a national trail. And we're going to donate hopefully about 4% of what the U.S. government donates for funds on an annual basis to trail and park cleanup.
Rob, you came in a little bit late. Ashley's been kind of blowing us up on the chat. He wants to know if you guys are going to be making any more sours.
We are indeed. Yeah, so we have, we've had a couple sours come out of the pilot system in Connecticut, and we just started stepping them up onto 40-barrel batches. And part of the reason we wanted, to have another facility and to increase our capacity is because we were, I'm not going to say being stifled, but we were just so busy cranking out the flagships that we needed some capacity to explore and be creative and have a lot of fun. And so San Diego is really going to assist with that. And so we definitely have some sour options and some fruited options coming out in the next couple of months that we're pretty excited about.
Anything you want to tell us?
Drop a bomb here.
No, so we have our goza is called the Downwinder Goza, and it's got lime leaf, coriander. It's just really refreshing, delicious. And then we have a raspberry version of that that's going to be coming out in July, and then in August we have a blackberry Berliner Weiss that should come out.
Oh boy!
See, all these sound good. What's the shelf life on all of your guys' beer?
We stick to a standard. It's 6 months, but it's fully shelf stable for way longer than that.
Do people still complain about IPAs if they're more than like a month old?
Honestly, we haven't had much of that issue. We've been flying through product, and this stuff remains fresh, and we have a really killer quality program. And so, we retain samples of everything and taste them on the back end and taste them every month, see how they're developing. And, all in all, it's, I got to attribute it to the team, but the shelf life is doing well.
Let's see, I've had a few of your guys' products. I think there was the stout. I know with Ashley asking a bunch of the questions that are out here, he actually had pointed me to some of the beers one day while I was in there. And I guess for myself, they are definitely enjoyable. They taste like beer. They are there where they have the flavor. And I think for myself and kind of as a much bigger guy than I feel I need to be, I do plan on getting myself into some sort of exercise regimen. But my problem is that I don't feel like I can get away from the beer. So I am really kind of like getting even excited about gozas, which of course that was not me about a year ago about gozas at all. But yeah, all of those flavor combos that you have coming down sounds really, really enjoyable.
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's why we do what we do, and I love beer too. But I didn't need to be drinking as much as I was drinking before, and I seriously, I just love the ingredients. I love malt and I love hops and I love them together, and I love them like in all formats. And so that's kind of what we wanted to do, is just like Bill said, make more occasions and just
I think especially for some of us that since the quarantine has been drinking a bit more than what we're normally used to, that this would help with keeping some of those pounds down.
Yeah, I've also been known to crush a rogue box of Cheez-Its or something like that during quarantine. So
That's why
any
chocolates
help I
are
can
not in
get.
my house.
Yeah, I think once everything's kind of lifted. So I know Dan, everything's opened up over there in Arizona, right?
Oh yeah, for a
Oh
couple
yeah.
of weeks now.
What's
People are flying in to come to Arizona for that.
we
And
had
for the haircuts.
we had a in Indiana. There was a billboard outside of Indiana that said, "Welcome Michiganders from Indiana. You can go do X, Y, or you can go to a restaurant here or something like that." Which is interesting because we just learned that Three Floyds Brew Pub is going to be closing for a couple years. They're estimating, which is huge. Now that's not the production facility. Production's still going to go. They're still going to distro. But I mean that stuff's fairly odds and ends to find at the beer stores to where it was just so much easier to show up to the brewery itself. So I'm hoping maybe on premise to go is still going to be there. They don't growler or anything, which I mean, shame on them anyways. But not like I mean, they have too many IPAs. I just do not handle that. Like I
It's the
just want
story of every brewery, though, man.
I mean last week we were talking about how there was a handful of breweries like Old Peninsula, how I went through a flight of 8 without dealing with one pale ale. Um
Yeah.
so uh with Athletic Brewing, obviously you guys are in a very a niche market that's kind of exploding within the world. Are you guys looking, we kind of mentioned about non-alcoholic spirits or non-alcoholic, non-alcoholic alcoholic based drinks. Are you guys looking to get into anything else, or are you just going straight non-alcoholic beer? Because I mean, 10,000 barrels is nothing to um nothing to say that it's bad, like, because it's not. It's the huge that would you guys would actually rank, if I'm counting correctly, maybe like eighth in the state of Michigan in your barrelage, just simply by doing non-alcoholic beers. um So are you guys like anything else down the line? Like what's 2020 and 2021 looking like?
I think the the near future holds just satisfying a market that we've been underserving for so long, and really kind of getting out there, hopefully on a national level, and really exploring the craft non-alcoholic beer segment. We'll never say no to experimenting, I think. And I think honestly, as a creative individual, like I would love for a little bit of time to be doing more of that. And so I hope for me and for our whole team that we get to do that eventually. But right now we're gonna, focus on what we're doing and just create more NA beer.
Well, before you guys go, everyone kind of talks about, beer tails, mixing beer with liquor, or mixing beer with, gin, vodka, etc. I know, Bill, you don't drink, so there might be even a sneaky good one with you. But the question to Bill or John, do you guys have a good beer tail recipe for one of your beers, especially one of the two that you're bringing to Michigan July 1st?
I know a lot of our, or some of our on-premise bars in bigger metro areas do creative cocktails with our beer. Listen Bar in New York is really particularly good at that, and they do everything from thoughtful cocktails with our IPA to like CBD infused beers and stuff like that. So I like what they've been doing a lot with our beers. That's Listen Bar. But John, do you have anything at home that you do, or I haven't heard of it, but
No, I'm just kind of a call me old school, but I drink it sometimes even out of the can.
yeah, same.
Well, guys, thank you so much. Again, here in Michigan, we can't get you until July 1st, so definitely look out. Reach out to your local party stores. Tell them that it's going to be coming July 1st. Do you guys know who the distributors are, or at least a couple of them, so people um, can look locally?
We should probably wait till we're fully signed, but
No
yeah, big
worries.
shout out to our Michigan stores who were carrying us before we had to stop sending it, and big thanks to Ashley for all the love. Appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for having us on. Really appreciate it. Spreading the
Nope.
word. for us.
No problem, guys. We are going to take a quick break. John and Bill, we'll let you get back to work. It's only 4:00 over there, John. So your day, or Bill, so your day is not over. John, thank you so much for joining us. We will definitely have to have you on. And again, the next time you guys are in Michigan, don't forget to hit us up. We'll have you guys in studio. Trust me, it's a little more rowdy. And for you, John, it's a little more drinky. But Bill said he'll drive us anywhere we want to go.
Even better.
And Bill, I know where the non-alcoholic whiskeys and vodkas are for bars, so we can get you some actual non-alcoholic cocktails. So that's going to do it for segment 1. Go check out Athletic Brewing in Michigan. See them July 1st here, and we will be right back with the Better on Draft podcast.
Thanks, guys. Have a great
Thanks,
weekend.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm headed for the city, trouble in my mind. I'm way too young and pretty for things to be unkind. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city, make me start again. Conversation now and then, gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. I'm headed for the city, see what I can unwind. Always gotta start it to dictate, make it in this life. Time is all we have now, so let's make something while we can. I'm headed for the city to make me start again. Conversation now and then, gotta go, gotta get it. Don't make things go south, baby. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 These are they looking back home. No, I'm now by myself on this road.
And we're back. There we go. Better on Draft podcast, episode 221. That is right. My name is Ken. The 4 of us are here. Nick is hiding from the sun. It is
Yeah,
round
what are you doing,
2.
Nick?
Those of
Yeah,
you in the
watch.
chat, tell us what you're drinking. I will start first because very interesting. I'm doing barefoot hard seltzer.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay.
What?
Yeah, buddy.
Ken,
I got-
what made you buy that?
it existed.
Existed.
I actually was looking for odd side, and there was
You ended
the
up with barefoot.
they. I went to Tippins, which is the Ann Arbor craft beer store, didn't have it. So our friend Wes, friend of the show, shout out to Wes, shot me a message with the where it's located. So I'm gonna have to go look it up for sure. But for right now, it says Barefoot Hard Seltzer. Key ingredients: white wine, sparkling water, natural flavors.
Oh boy.
Yep,
That
it's
could be that could be that insecticide they put in some of those seltzer waters, not the alcoholic ones, but
I still don't understand. I saw White Claw, no flavor seltzer water, and I'm like, you're just drinking flavorless alcohol.
yeah,
Like
Pretty
at least
much.
I at least want a little bit of flavor.
drinking some hard Perrier. Why not?
Nick, what are you doing over there?
I do have a White Claw now.
White Claw. Oh,
Yeah, I got a raspberry, and then I got a Truly mango.
You need to take a sip of each of those at the same time. You made me go grab a damn seltzer out of the fridge. I don't want to.
What is going on with the
I don't
seltzer
know.
right now?
I
It's like,
don't know.
y'all are
I'm
trying
not-
right now, are you just
I'm
learning
not
that
at
there's a
home.
craze about seltzer?
No, I mean just lately because this week, like between you guys drinking the seltzers and then I guess
Matt?
sort of shout out to Matt Bush, who's basically throwing his flag down like Marvin the fucking Martian. Like this is it's seltzer land and just planting his
Seltzer
shit
land.
down. Where it's like I told y'all this is it. This is the stuff. This is where everything's going. And it's just like no. As I see that he just joined.
Yeah, he
Dear
says
God.
White Claw Pure is the best. That makes
Oh, boy.
someone.
No.
Harry needs to get into alcoholic water now because
So
Alcoholic water.
with the
Bud
news
Light.
that obviously the Michigan Beer Guide is no longer. Every year they used to post the numbers issue, and this year obviously is the first year they didn't. I happened to get the numbers, and
Oh.
I've got a spoiler. Michigan craft beer is down.
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 Not really spoiler, I don't think.
Yeah, so in 2018, all of craft beer sold 573,000 barrels. 2019, we're down to 533,000. So we're down roughly 40,000 barrels, probably about 8%, given a rough percentage on that. One of the big drops that we're seeing from 1 to 1 is both Bell's and Founders, or San Miguel Rapids, Charlotte Street, whatever. I did. Did you see that post I sent you today, by the way, Rob, about you loving on Founders 4 years ago or 5 years ago?
Yeah, that was a different time. I was young. I was vulnerable. I didn't know.
oh boy.
Yeah, that just caught me at such a different age of craft beer that I didn't know what to do with myself. So yeah, I have to live with that.
That's just what happens.
I have to live with this.
Other interesting drops in production include Old Nation, Perrin, and Griffin Claw. I don't think is much of a surprise, mainly because I think they started to move production to their cider program, which ciders do not count towards beer production. Yeah, so definitely a little bit of interesting information. So we're actually putting together, we're going to release the 2019 numbers here in the next day or two for people to nerd over if you guys are a spreadsheet kind of person.
Nerd over.
I mean, that's what I loved about the Michigan Brewers Michigan Beer Guide yearly thing, because you were able to kind of see who's growing, who's condensing. What I also learned pulling the actual numbers is there are a lot of brewers license out there that aren't brewing. Roughly 46 brewers license out there that just aren't brewing, whether they haven't opened yet or but they're paying taxes, like they're reporting to MLCC. So closed breweries like Bird Creek, that was a brew pub. Breweries that haven't opened, like By George. So there's definitely a lot of breweries that are still reporting that still haven't necessarily done anything. And of course, like you got it like Fort Street, which brewed 1 barrel last year before they closed up.
Didn't do a whole lot. Not really.
No,
I mean,
they lasted longer than I think even they expected.
they did, and I mean that was, at the time when I was living out there, that basically was my local craft brewery, and I mean, it felt like for me, their beer, I guess to me was at least average. But the thing that kept having me come back was they made a damn good Scotch egg.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What made you go there, huh?
Mm-hmm. They actually made some beer cocktails as well that were really good.
I mean, I have definitely I've gone to Lansing Brewing Company multiple times and I've never had one of their beers.
I thought they were good. I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook where people have just kind of gave Lansing Brewing like the Shatwater treatment, which is like ridiculous. How bad they got hit. And as I'm seeing Matt posting and saying things about Shipwreck, and I mean it's certainly not on that level. I thought they produced decent beer, and the time that I was out there, it was.
You thought
it was
Shipwreck produced decent beer?
No, Lansing Brewing, not Shipwreck.
I mean, Lansing Brewing is still doing good. Shipwreck did 18 barrels in their entire time open, that they registered with the MLCC, obviously. Lansing Brewing. Lansing Brewing's been very consistent. They've done 1747 in 2018, 2061 and 2017, 2061, 2018, and 1934 barrels in 2019. The big thing that we are learning is that the numbers that I pulled from the Michigan Beer Guide do not necessarily match the numbers from the MLCC. So the numbers that I technically have from 2018 and 17 are from the Beer Guide. 2019 is straight from the MLCC. So I kind of got to figure out what Rex Halfpenny did over there to make the numbers, because there's definitely a big discrepancy, but I think the big discrepancy happens at the bigger breweries, which is no big deal. So your top breweries of 2019. So we'll go with the top 10. We'll kind of go in a circle. I'll have everyone guess and see if we can knock them out. We'll start with Dan to make it easy because he's no longer in the state. This does include non-craft beer in the state. So you could tell me the top.
You mean like Founders?
There you go.
Places
Founders.
like
Founders is actually number 2 in the state. Nicholas.
Bells.
Bells is number 1. Rob.
Shorts.
Shorts is number 3. That is just their Elk Rapids. Does not include their Bel Air production. Going back to Dan.
Top 10 in the state?
Top 10 in the state, just simply on production.
Ooh, this is a tough one because I don't even really know much.
That's why I wanted you to go first, so you're always the first one in the new round.
Oh, geez, I have no idea. I couldn't even name a Michigan brewery off the top of my head anymore.
Oh, man. That's not good, Dan.
Nah, I suck.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah. Oh, shit. I don't know. I pass.
I mean, what's that barrel-aged beer you're drinking?
Oh, New Holland.
There you
Oh,
go.
thank you. Okay.
I'll only cheat for you once. If it comes back around.
Right. You're right. I got to start thinking. I wasn't ready.
Which one was that? Which place were they were in?
4, 5, 6, 7. They were 8th.
8th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who's next? Is it Nick?
Nick is up.
Yeah. Let's go Atwater.
Number 4. So I'll throw out the numbers real quick just so you guys know. Number 1, Bell's at 124,000. Number 2, Founders 6,000. This is just their production facility. Elk Rapids number 3, 38,127. Atwater Brewery and Tap House. So this is the one just in Detroit, 22,017. And then New Holland, which is just the production facility, at 11,873.
Perrin.
Perrin, that is number 6. Perrin running in at 13,097. Dan,
I'm gonna go with the brewery that actually just got out here about a week or two ago and say Jolly Pumpkin.
so Jolly Pumpkin is a decent guess, but none like the Nubco Dexter is number 13.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Dan, you are out. Nicholas, you're back in.
This is. I'm thinking this one because of the contract brewing. Brew Detroit.
Brew Detroit is not on the list. Beers that they make for other people do not count. Rob, do you want to take the cake?
I mean, the beer that they made on contract was M43, so I'm going to go with Old Nation.
Old Nation number 5.
Nice.
I wanted to say it, but
filling out the top 10, number 7, Griffin Claw, 12,840. Number 9, Kiwana, 98.93.
Holy crap.
And number 10, Black Rocks at 75.75.
Really?
I forgot about them. I was my next one I was going to say was going to be Rogue, considering how much they've been.
I thought about them too.
Pushing their beer.
Well, you'd be surprised to hear Roke undersold Dark Horse this year.
Wow.
Well, last year, 2019.
Okay.
So what was missing in between what Dan said with Jolly Pumpkin and Black Rocks at number 10 was number 11, Saugatuck Brewing. And that is just Saugatuck, not Gonzo's Big Dog, Saugatuck Kalamazoo.
Sometimes I wish they didn't buy Gonzo's. I miss the vanilla porter that Gonzo's had.
I still will always have the memory, and I'm sure Matt will always remember. Matt and I, when we went to the Michigan Brewers Conference, we had some beers at Gonzo's, and we were playing Scrabble, and I played the word yes, and he put an E in front of it, and my response was, "What is E yes?" And I will never let myself down for that. Even though I did win the game of Scrabble, so Matt may have bested me in the yes to eyes, but I bested him in that game for sure. There is a lot of news going on within the state of Michigan, not necessarily craft beer specific. I'm trying to roll up right now. There are a lot of beer laws, House bills going in. For beer, so we've got HB 5341, which talks about provisions related to brew pub license conditions. 42 eliminates allowing certain microbrewers to deliver beer to retailers and clarifies electronic advertising procedures, which I think is a good thing because I think that's the one that removes the inability to market tap takeovers. Because if you guys didn't know, it was at one point illegal to talk about tap takeovers at bars.
Okay.
Do that on. I mean, that actually kind of goes back to one of the stories I had about the brewery in California that they couldn't post about their tap takeovers on Instagram because they were actually getting hit with fines by the California State Board. That was a brewery that got hit with, I think it was something like 60 plus citations that forced them to have to close one of their facilities because they couldn't afford the fines. The fines were something upwards of like I think it was like almost $500,000, and they could not afford it. So they had worked out a deal to just close the facility for 6 months.
Continuing, we have all these start with 53, by the way. So 53, 43. That's the big one that we've talked about so many times. The increase in self-distribution limits for microbreweries. So that increases from 1,000 to 2,000 and eliminates in-house numbers, which is pretty much the big thing that kind of hinders your production. Because at some point, once you hit 2,000 distroed barrels, you're really getting out there. For clarification, those people who are at 2,000 barrels currently, if I can do my math real quick, 26, 57, 32 of the breweries. So 8%, 9% of breweries in the state of Michigan would have to, even if the law was 2,000, not including in-house. So obviously including in-house The number 2000 isn't necessarily too big, and you're going to want to distro anyways. Look at Barrel and Beam, like they were self-distroing for a while, but you can only self-distro so much from where's that, Marquette-ish.
Marquette-ish.
Yeah, it's a bad spot.
So I mean, their beer is selling like hotcakes, and I still have that wooden container that they sent us the beer in, which I truly appreciate. You could check out their episode, which was one of the Fall Beer Fest episodes when we could go back to beer festivals.
Yeah,
And speaking of, since we lost summer,
we lost summer. GABF is canceled. Taste of the Midwest is canceled.
I guess now that is gone, that now puts us into the question of whether or not is the Fall Beer Fest going to make it.
I hope it does.
We're at a point,
we'll see.
There's we'll see, but I think we're at a point where now here we come at the end of May, and everything in June is starting to get canceled. Everything in July, rest in peace, my damn Run the Jewels Rage Against the Machine concert, July.
Faith No More and Corn got canceled today officially, and that was in August and September. So
I'm curious because Movement, I think, is scheduled for Labor Day weekend now as opposed to Memorial Day weekend. If they cancel, but I'm waiting to hear the lineup for Movement before I cancel my tickets.
The Kentucky Derby, I think, is October now.
Oh,
I don't think it's actually going to happen.
It's so weird.
A big major
October Derby. That's
horse
normally
race in fall.
Well, that's normally the
Breeders'
what's the one?
Cup.
Yeah, the Breeders' Cup is
Breeders'
normally
Cup,
October.
Jason Gregory says not a chance that festival is done. I think they may do the UP Fest and might not do the Detroit Fest. I think there are very good odds for that. The UP Fest is a lot more spread out. That you could create fairly well social distancing in a festival of that scale. Just because how big the site is, but how small the event is. So it's not like it's a lot more spread out than the Summer Beer Fest. It's not as big, but it's still more spread out. Like you don't feel crowded like you do the Fall and the Winter Fest. Yeah.
And for Matt's post, Matt just said that he would wear a dress if the Fall Beer Fest happens. I am simply going to say that I get to pick that dress.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree.
Matt is saying Demph is done. I don't know if Demph is done for Labor Day or
Period.
But, yeah, that's $400 I'm going to get back if I can't go because that was a bucket list concert to go see Underworld.
Say what happened to that being like $10 to get into that?
It used to be
What the
free
hell?
to get in, but I paid for 2 tickets, obviously, all day pass for Saturday, but I also paid for like the VIP area where I can go fucking sit down in shade and cool. Because Memorial Day weekend is usually one of those stupid hot weekends that happen in Detroit.
Like this past weekend.
Exactly.
Thanks,
So I'm like, let's just buy this, expensive ticket so we can go whenever we want. We can get in and out whenever we want, and we can go
In-N-Out Burger. What do you?
Yeah, we can get In-N-Out Burger. No, we can get in and out of the
Whatever you
festival. So. There is a lot more laws that are going on right now, and we'll kind of just go through them. In regards to beer buybacks from breweries, I'm hoping this can allow for a lot more. I think the big thing with a lot of these laws rely on each other to pass, and I think a lot of our state representatives are very, very in tune with just updating these laws at this time, and I think this is the time we need to do it because if we don't, I don't think it'll get done. Because
get done, then I think more breweries are going to close.
Well, the big thing here, especially in the state, is that will it help the industry? Yes. Will it fuck anything up? Not really. I mean, what's allowing a brewery to buy back beer? What does that really fuck up? And not a brewery, not a retailer or a distributor, because distributors obviously buy back beer, but a brewery to buy back beer. If I want to buy back my beer, what if I can go and sell that to Rusted Crow to turn it into a whiskey? Or sanitizer. I mean, hell, especially that right now too. If I could buy back bad beer to send to any type of distributor, whether it's Supernatural or New Holland or wherever, like that's the huge thing. Dan, we don't have sanitizer obviously, or we would have showed it on screen. You can see obviously the screen at facebook.com/better on draft if you're not listening
super
live.
Hot in Arizona.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
It's only 5. What are you guys talking about?
It's only 5 o'clock. Nick said it was super hot, and you told us the time, so thank you,
I thought
Dan.
you said 7 p.m. Eastern.
Apparently, it's really hot over there.
It's only
400
111, 112, something like that.
Beer festival special requirements. I think that allows for you to be able to have more than just beer at a festival. Beer, wine, and no.
Didn't they axe all that a while ago?
Well, they didn't axe it in the sense to where they had to start following the law.
Y'all bring those 9 ciders, like we can't do that no more.
So, but the big thing, like for instance, how the Great Lakes Wine and Spirits Festival is, they have the beer in a separate area so that it's 2 separate festivals technically.
Smart move.
So that you can technically do both, walk in and out of both. Still one of my favorite liquor festivals I've ever been to, because what costs for like a half-ounce shot of liquor was the same as like a 3-ounce pour of beer. And I'd rather go fucking sip on a bunch of random like distilleries from the state than going to drink beer. And then I also, because it's in Grand Rapids, you go to Donkey Taqueria. And if you've never been to Donkey Taqueria, that is probably one of the best bars, especially if you're a tequila fan. There's a lot more laws that are going through in regards to having to register every single beer too. I remember when we were talking with Brewery 424 and how there was another brewery near Holland that got in trouble because they did not register all of their draft beers to the MLCC. That they had to take off all their beers that they didn't register. So basically their draft list was nearly their entire can list, because that was everything that had to get approved by the MLCC. We learned that kind of the hard way, because in 2019, in January, there was a MLCC representative at the Michigan Brewers Conference who talked about how you had to register every single beer. And somebody was like, can you clarify, does that mean every beer that we distro or every beer period? And the MLCC said every beer period, and you saw like half the brewers, because I was in, there's 2 different panels at every single hour of the conference. There's the brewers science panel, so science, agriculture, brewing, sanitation, and then there's the business side. And you guys know me enough to where I'm on the business side. And somebody mentioned that, and like you just saw everyone pick up their phone, start texting people. I'm sure a handful of lawyers got a bunch of messages, and I know at that point the guy's like, let's come back to this and we'll make sure everything's okay. But from what we heard, like somebody got all of their taps pulled until they registered all, or trademarked or registered all of their labels. And you have to make a different label for each beer. So you have to like basically whatever, if you do like a label where you write the name, you just label it with the name. Yeah, definitely a pain in the ass. We have, the problem with Michigan is that we have too many post-prohibition laws that never got changed, even though we were one of the last states to change from 18 to 21.
Yeah, no, we've obviously with all of those, we've got a lot to change. And I was just thinking about the whole registering, because I thought that was what happened at Dark Horse with the 4Elf event that was supposed to happen last December or November, whatever time frame that it was, that it pretty much left all of the craft beer fans out to dry because they couldn't sell the beer because it wasn't registered, and they essentially.
I think Dark Horse had a lot more internal problems than issues with the liquor board
before they got bought. But yeah, there's obviously that. I'm pretty sure like all of you guys that saw the news about some of the, obviously we've seen the closings that have been happening, but then there's the moves that are happening as well. And coming out this week with Arbor Brewing Company's downtown Ann Arbor location now deciding to relocate. I don't think it actually said anything about where they were going to go, but it is definitely something that the downtown area. But what's on that street is pretty much them, Blue Tractor, which they make their own beer, and then Haymaker. Shout out to Haymaker because they have quite a bit of a craft beer selection themselves. That's about it that I can think of that's in that downtown Ann Arbor area.
So the problem with Arbor Brewing is, so they did a full remodel in 2016, I believe. And they're basically, you could technically fit 3 restaurants or 3 places in that restaurant area, in that Arbor Brewing. So they have 3 front doors. Technically, they only use 2 out of the 3. The center one they don't use, but that whole space, I don't think they have the ability to make the money they could owning all 3. So especially the stuff in the back too, the owner, I'm guessing the landlord or whatever, and which we can go to landlord disputes here in a second. The amount of money they're spending at these types of places are not going to, it's just, you just can't make enough money for that.
I think the last time I was in there, I felt like, because I think I was, the last time I was in there, I was hosting trivia, and I kind of felt like the space could definitely be used better. The way that it was situated in the area, it almost made it seem like it was a craft brewery that just so happened to have a dance floor. And I don't think I've ever seen that in any craft brewery before, where there was just like so much open space. And it was really, really weird.
Yeah, and I mean they're only doing 440 barrels a year at that facility. Most of their production's done at Corner, obviously, and they just opened up Plymouth in collaboration with their owner Bigalora. So they have a Bigalora Pizza / Arbor Brewing Company in Plymouth.
I mean, they still have I still call it Corner, just like I still call frickin' Pine Knob.
I mean, it's still Corner. Everyone calls it Corner.
It's still Corner. Yes, Pine Knob to the DTE employee down there.
Pine Knob to me, bro.
Yeah, right.
We have that. I mean, it's Pine Knob to a lot of people. Every time I go see Bare Naked Ladies over at Pine Knob DTE, every single year they always do they play their show and then they have a specific rap for each city that they're in. So like did one at the Toledo Zoo and they had a rap about the fucking lion that's watching them sing because the amphitheater at the Toledo Zoo is right in the middle of the zoo. So the one in Michigan's always about calling DTE Pine Knob and how it's always Pine Knob.
Love it. Oh, by the way, since the style got mentioned, shout out to Dan on this one. Urban Rest, a English dark mild.
Nice.
Well, now I feel like
Good
I need
stuff.
to go to Urban Rest tomorrow since I'm going to be Nectar. Jason Gregory in the chat is saying the Ann Arbor location was poor for service every time I went. Corner is way better. I think Ann Arbor, I'm going to say it, was a victim of its city, a victim of its culture, its everything.
Kind of Tower of Babel.
I mean, you're getting the people who work for the downtown Ann Arbor probably go to U of M. And you're probably getting U of M, students there. So I think it's just not the necessarily best place for that kind of brewery.
Being part of a family of Spartans, I will just go ahead and let you keep going. But Jason Gregory is a huge U of M person, so I would almost say tread lightly, but fuck that.
What's he gonna do? This is my show. He can unsubscribe. Hit that unsubscribe, but no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe he's the guy that is now subscribed to where we're not struggling anymore, so I should try.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's definitely a different culture. Obviously, I've worked as well as partying in Ann Arbor. I've worked at Good Time Charlie's and the taqueria above it. I've worked at May's Canteen. Oh no, May's Cantina's Ypsilanti.
You used to hang out at Necto. I know.
I've only been at Necto once actually.
I used to go to Necto all the time, so I'm just poking fun at you. So.
I feel like I missed my time at Necto.
That was a little before your time. Yeah.
Yeah, so
First time I ever threw up from drinking was after a night there. So
What?
yeah.
That is gonna pretty much do it in regards to better on draft. The one thing, guys, I want you to do is House Bills 53. 41 to 53, 55, and then 53 or 5400. Talk to your reps. We'll post all the information onto the description of this episode. So if you go to betterondraft.com, search episode 221 for Athletic Brewing, you can see all the house bills. You can read up on them. You can get more information. You could find out who the person that sponsors it. You could see if your representative sponsors it. If not, reach out to them. The big thing, we don't talk politics. We don't. I think the big thing, especially after we were talking to Michael Weber, Representative Weber, we don't talk partisan politics here. We talk politics about beer, but we don't talk partisan politics, and that's the big thing here. So no matter what side you lie on, make sure you talk to your representative, explain to them how this will help not only your city, I should say, their territory, their area, the place that they represent. Make sure that they know how much it's going to help the local community, whether it's not necessarily their city, their county, and not necessarily their county, their area. Just because I lived in Troy, Michigan at 18 and John R. doesn't mean that literally a half mile away from me was, Macomb County. So all of these things help out so many people. So we want to make sure you go check it out. Go check out all those bills. Again, they'll be at the bottom. That's good. Yeah.
Just saying that the moment you said, no matter what you think about the politics, I thought you were going to say, we think it's better on a ballot.
Oh, jeez.
I was waiting for it.
That's good. That's a good one.
Well, I got definitely the groan for potentially creating a new podcast called the Politics on Draft Cast or Podcast.
Lord.
Wow.
You're done, Ken. You're done.
Dan, I heard you roll your eyes there.
Yeah, you're done.
Guys, check out our sponsors, the Tuna Liquor over in Rochester Hills. Go check out North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan.
Still have it.
You can go to Hot Mic and download the Hot Mic app, and you can watch live 7 p.m. Eastern on the Hot Mic app. Use the code BOD to register. That's important for those who don't have Facebook. That's okay. I understand. I want to delete mine all the damn time.
I was the last one, so I don't know who you're still talking to.
The last one to join Facebook. I know a lot of people who don't have Facebook.
I'm surprised. I thought it was the last holdout.
You know who doesn't have Facebook, Dan? The kid. The kid doesn't have Facebook.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go.
Okay.
Right,
so
don't forget, Tavor is still out there. That code is still out there for anybody.
Yeah, I am not happy with Tavor. Just not enough fucking beer that I want. And then the one time there was a beer today, I think that got launched, I hit it 3 minutes in and it was sold out, and I was so mad.
You don't want 19 IPAs? What are you talking about?
No, Dan, I don't want 19 IPAs.
Those people who do want those 19 IPAs, the promo code is still out there, ROBEAR, ROBEAR, and that will get you a $10 credit after the first $25 you spend on beer.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
All right. betterondraft.com, Better on Draft on Twitter, Better on Draft on Instagram, Better on Draft on Facebook, BOD Podcast on Untapped. I'm sure we'll start using it again once we kind of get back into studio. Don't forget to check out our Instagram for kill shots. And guys, thank you so much for joining. We're going to be leaving the Hot Mic app, but we will still be on Facebook. We're going to start a new episode, and you guys will be able to play Jackbox with us. We'll play 3 games as normal. And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's a seltzer. No, Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace.